Hello there everyone and welcome to my Synergy Lab. Today we're gonna be throwing magical dust everywhere, and I'm gonna give you a reason to fear me. By the time we're done, you're gonna wanna run, because I'll be an omnipotent god, able to do anything I want to anyone I want, and I will kill indiscriminately. Look, alright, there is a reason. My name is Rage. Welcome to the lab. We're gonna have, it's a good one. It's so pretty today. Like, it's just, like, that's the noise I made when I discovered this. I was combining my items, sciencing it up, putting one thing in another, pouring this into that, smashing this on top of this, and then it happened. I made it, I formed it, and I just had a kind of moment, and I knew that I was going to be recreating it for your viewing pleasure. So open your eyes, focus upon the task, get off Reddit and alt-tab back onto this video, damn you, and enjoy the bounteous, fruitful vision feast that I'm about to throw your way. Because if you don't, I'm gonna hunt you down, and I know where you live, and you don't want me to pay you a visit. Okay, look, the voice thing, I probably should give context. So I like me a bit of D&D. Okay, I do. I'm a big fan of D&D. I think it's a lot of fun, and I kind of have been missing it. I've not played it in ages, so I agreed to be a dungeon master for a group of me and my friends. The campaign's not started yet, as of right now, and it's going to start soon. So I've just been spending most of my life right now just doing voices, and I'll admit this voice isn't amazing, but I kind of want it to go for sort of a kind of unsettling smoothness that has kind of got a confidence about him, but at the same time can end up being really creepy. I that's the one that I've been working on. But the thing is, in order to work on it, I've been walking up and down my house, just around the rooms and up and down the corridor, just talking like this to myself about things, like I'm in a freaking insane asylum in the jacket, walking around my room going, this is how I totally sound, I'm not crazy. The thing is, because this character's kind of not the nicest chap, I've just been walking, pacing around the rooms of my house going, I'ma kill you if I catch you. You don't want me to find you, cause I'm gonna make you scream for death. It's just, I realized in it, I literally looked mental before Daddy realized what I was doing. She genuinely had this, Josh, are you okay? Because she was in the bedroom going to sleep, and I was walking down the corridor going, I'm gonna find you, and when I do, I'm gonna make you wish you were never born. I just had this realization of, I sound like a psychopath, that I have finally snapped. I have finally snapped, and this is it. Look to the news, because there will be a reporting of my actions. Oh my god. But yeah, I do love doing voices. Yeah, I know, right? Shocking. If you've watched my videos for a while, that is shocking news. But I have a great fun time doing various accents, but for the longest time I can only do foreign or a right little bit of Scottish. But even then, they're really bad, aren't they? But there's so many more I want to do, so I've been trying to watch tutorials on them and see if I can't learn to properly do it, because it's a really kind of difficult thing for me to get my head behind. I'm just struggling to do it. I'd really like to be able to do a Somerset combine harvester accent for farmers, welcome to my farm, how can I help you? But I just can't quite nail it, but I'm trying my best. So that's probably what a lot of this video is gonna focus on. It's not really. I do have an awkward story for you, because I love sharing my shortcomings with strangers on the internet. I do love the theory that I am just an absolutely huge masochist, and the thought that thousands of people are secretly judging me in a negative light makes me just sit here and just go, oh yeah, think I'm a moron more. Oh God, comments please. I've just made it really awkward for you to comment on my videos, haven't I? I've just ruined everything. We've not done a Crown of Light synergy in a while, and I wasn't even supposed to be using it. In fact, the synergy went through quite a few revisions before I got to where it currently is, and I'm really pleased with it. It's not like gonna blow you away. No, it is gonna blow you away, but it's not gonna like melt your brain. But I would assume it's gonna get a kind of "Aww, that's cool" reaction out of you, and that's kind of what I like to go for in these things. So we'll blow up those. We'll just find a load of spikes everywhere for now, and that's all good. So to the next floor we go. There's not a huge amount of itemage involved in this one, which is why I'm being a little bit sparing on what I pick up when and why and all of that jazz. But for now, sorry, all of that rap, all of that pop, all of that classical, all of that. That's a good angel room. Oh, I know. I've talked about my irritation with why does jazz get to be the genre of choice, but you know I've not stopped being irritated by it. Then again, I do feel like a bit of a prick when someone says all that jazz, and I'm like, why jazz? Why did you not choose pop? Because it's the expression, and I'm like, well, maybe you should think for yourself if it should be. Oh, why are you walking away from me? It's not great, but I sometimes can't resist being that guy. Alright, so what we want now is to actually let's go get, well, see, I know what I'm thinking about, but for you guys, I just sound like I'm slowly going mental here. We do want a little bit of range up. I actually shouldn't have lowered it as much as I did. We kind of want to have an almost arc when our tears come out of us. I kind of like, yeah, you see it's starting to be a little bit archy. That should be about enough. And then I need to see, I don't mind blub with this, and the thing is, it's kind of fine because inherently you won't actually see a lot of this per se when it ends, because we're going to grab soy milk, and then we have kind of this going on with just little flecks of blue shards going everywhere. But as you can tell, this one isn't the most effective at killing people. So we're going to grab Pyromaniac, a little bit of a hint, and I say it's a hint, it's just a straight giveaway. But we will get a little bit defensive going on here, and then move on to the next floor. Move on to the next floor. I can't actually kill anything, guys. I actually can't kill anything. I never really thought about the practicalities of actually getting through a floor with this synergy, but look at the range. Oh no. What have I done? This is actually in contention for like a challenge run. This is so difficult to kill things with this. My word. I have made a really huge mistake, guys. It's Synergy Lab, and I'm having to bomb skip rooms because I'm too weak. Consider that for a moment. Consider that for a brief moment. I feel a little bit ashamed right now. Well, I guess the Black Heart will deal with that room, and we get an extra bomb so we can keep the skip. That's so sad. Oh my god. This is really bad. I feel like someone who's challenged someone to a competition and then lost thoroughly. Like I've been known as a guy who's really good at thumb wars and found out that somebody likes thumb wars. And I'm like, oh yeah, you like thumb war? Let's have a thumb war. Oh! And I don't know why I chose thumb wars. Like, of all the examples of a situation where that would be applicable, I chose the grasping of two people's hands together and then fighting to wrestle the other person's thumb to the ground. How ubiquitous is thumb wars? How many of you even know what I'm talking about? Because it occurs to me, if you don't actually know what a thumb war is, I probably sound really quite mental right now. Thumb wars and the screaming? What are you talking about? Like, I probably sound like I've just made this up. But no, I swear to God, thumb wars are a thing. You lock your hands together, like vertically, with the thumbs at the top, and then you just basically wiggle them round and fight to pin the other person's thumb. And before you start, you have to say, 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare a thumb war. And then it begins, right? That's what happens, okay? That's a real thing. I've not made that up. I'm great at thumb wars. But no, it's just one of those situations where somebody's really proud of a talent or ability that they have, so whenever an opportunity comes up to use it or show it off, they kind of do it. And then if you get immediately beat, like if you're like, yeah, you know, I can do a few impressions, a few voices, and someone's like, oh, show me. So you do it and it's kind of okay. Like you kind of butcher it. Like if you try and talk like a famous person, which, see, that was terrible, right? It was supposed to be Christopher Walken. I can't do it really good. No, I can't, like, you see what I mean? But, you know, maybe I'm kind of proud of that. Maybe like, yeah, I'll give it a go. And then someone comes in and does an absolutely perfect, like, it just sounds like he's walked into the, see, that's why I chose that guy for the follow-up joke, but I underestimated how well I could do an impression of him. I can't do it at all. See, to me, I just need to pause between words and automatically it's a great impression. But there's so much more nuance to that. See what I mean? Right there. The irony is, in my example to prove the thing that I was talking about actually turned into a real life, currently happening, actual example of the thing and not an example of the example. I just literally played myself. I just actually played myself. I would love to know if any of you guys are good with your voice like that. I am fighting this guy for so fucking long. Like, holy shit. This is ridiculous. I can't believe that this is happening. I can't kill him. I mean, I can kill him, but it's taking so long that I kind of want to die. Like, I actually deeply regret my choices. Like, straight up. This is really embarrassing. This is really embarrassing. I did it, guys. I did it. But ultimately, and by I did it, I you know, that jump cut was not for any reason. No, I genuinely killed him normally and moved. Obviously, I did. Like, come on, you're crazy. But I will admit it's one of the most satisfying things in the world to be that guy that immediately shows up and shuts down the guy that's like, oh, yeah, I could do that. Look at me go. Look at me go. It's very, very good. I tend to do that with a few things. Like, if somebody's talking about Greek mythology, I cannot help but get involved and correct them and try and show off how much I know about it. I hate that I do that, but that's, like, weirdly the way... I feel like that's a very specific subject. Like, someone could talk about anything game-related or anything that I'm into, and I don't really mind, but somebody says some misinformation about Greek mythology, and then I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute there! So, you might be seeing right here the start of why this is pretty damn cool. To me, I have never personally, at least I don't remember if I have, seen this color of explosion. This lovely blue, like teal clouds. I think it's absolutely great. Like, I think it looks wonderful, right? And I think even this would be really cool if it was the synergy. But what's the really cool thing to do here is if we go back in this room here, get this, okay, so it doesn't stop, and then I go to a nice empty room. In fact, we'll go to this room here. I realize it's not empty. We'll kill the owner, and then it's empty. Problem solved. Then I turn this off, and then we just kind of let it drift. You know, we just let it drift. And essentially, we'll just eventually automatically manage to get through it. And the thing is, if you do try and use the aimer, you will eventually push yourself in the right direction by sheer chance with a little bit of aid from the slight direction. But obviously, if we just left that going forever, we'd never reach anything. But it is very, very cool that that's how it works. But while we are just repeatedly exploding like that, I do need to grab myself a little bit of hanging, because I need to fly, and then we will move on. And we are going to slightly upgrade this even more. You know, we are essentially going to create my favorite explosion clouds, just period, that I've ever seen. I think they're absolutely wonderful. So, story time then. I ordered a fridge recently to finish off the kitchen, because the kitchen had been really bad. It needs killing. Finish off. Haha. Haha. Hey guys. How are you doing? Not dying is what I'm seeing here. There we go. Proud of you. You managed to die. And I unfortunately, given my awful sleeping pattern, don't tend to be awake when, you know, normal things get delivered. So this proved a problem, because you can't just leave a fridge outside, because someone's probably going to nick it. I don't know who this is, but do you ever find that, right? Like, there's always this kind of mentality of if you leave something outside, it's definitely going to get stolen. At least that's what I always get told by people. And I'm like, really? Who's walking down the street, sees a fridge, and goes, I'm having that? Then again, I guess, you know, that you could probably sell on a fridge pretty easily, but it's a big thing to cut off. So I guess you gotta ring your boys and like, I got a fridge for us, get down here, we're gonna take this thing. And I don't know, I just feel like spontaneous thievery isn't as practical as a lot of people think that it is. So I think you need to think about your plans if you're going to steal people's appliances from their front gardens. Wait, I don't think that was the original point I was trying to make. Either way, don't get caught being a crime, and then you won't face repercussions. This is like the worst advice section of Isaac I've ever seen. So we're going to grab Cricket's body, which will cause a nice little bit of rockiness to be thrown out into it, just to texture and pepper it a little bit. And now we are going to add the pièce de résistance, because now we leave this beautiful little, like, rocky trail after us, which I really, really like. Just very much marks wherever we go. But one weird thing, I don't know why this happens, I don't know why this is the interaction, but it is, and it's really cool, and we have these beautiful layered ground-based explosions now, and it just looks awesome going left to right. I love it. But if we get ourselves blood clot, then suddenly, look, we add in this beautiful gradient of color, dark blue, purples, teals, the lighter lilac on the edges. It just changes this whole thing into an amazing pastel just color array, and I absolutely adore it. But of course, we're not quite exploding enough. We do need to grab a bit of tears up once more in the form of cancer, which will make it go even higher and higher and higher. And we could do a little bit of trinketage, but honestly, it doesn't really affect it that much, because the tears are so close to us, because they can't go anywhere before instantly exploding. We kind of just get a lot to work with. But if we do get the pulse worm, it kind of spreads out the explosions just a little bit more. I mean, if that's what you like, that's what you like. If we go for Ouroboros, we can have it just around us in this glorious, just spectacular cacophony of beautiful colored clouds surrounding everything that we do. But I also do like it just being next to me and controlling it as we move. It's a difficult decision. I really do think it is a very, very difficult decision. And you might be wondering what it looks like when you put it on the turret, and we'll show you that as well. See, this one I do like, because it's a huge cloud of it, but it's still kind of condensed, and it still follows me round. And this one I do kind of think is best. But I like synergies that give you options in their execution, you know, just something to think about. So we can do this essentially and stand on top of it and just have almost permanent cloud coverage going on, but I don't really think this is a synergy that needs the turret. I think it's just fine. So now look at this. Is that not awesome? Just this amazing storm of beautiful color finding its way through everything. And it's just this almost unstoppable force of nature, but it's so beautiful that you'd be fine if this unstoppable force of nature murdered you. There are worse ways to die than in a pink cloud of death, you know? That's okay. And then when we do get damaged, we end up swapping to this lovely green and red version, so it's not even that bad. And I just think this is really a lot of fun. Like, I really do. I think it's a very, very nice little setup here. So let's see what we can make happen in here. The bean. Because the thing is, it's not that damaging, but it's also really hard for things to get to me because the explosions keep on pushing them away. So we kind of have this natural defense going on. But yeah, if I just let it left outside. In fact, they wouldn't even leave it outside even if I asked them to, because something like that does actually need addressing. And I do hate doing synergies with kind of like normally, just because of how annoying it is when it gets disabled if it's a key component, but I really don't think that this one is actually that bad if it does, because I think it genuinely looks really, really good either way. Obviously I prefer it with the more pastel-y colors, but I still think it's passable here. So I had to be awake to receive this delivery, and they told me it's going to be between 7 and 5, and I'm like, oh, that's a narrow, is that all, 7 and 5, okay, that's fine, that's absolutely fine. Fortunately, they then informed me that on the day, they will let you know a shorter 4-hour slot, and I was like, okay, that's something, I suppose. So it gets to 7 a.m. in the morning, the start of the potential time slot, and I do get a text saying 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'm like, oh, thank God, I don't have to do the equivalent to a normal person of staying up all night. But I am already getting pretty tired at this point. Like, it is still 7 a.m. Like, it is really, really late. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'll have like a coffee, pep me up. I'll listen to some like loud music or watch a loud show that'll keep me going. I need to stay awake till it arrives or I will miss it, and I don't want to go through the hassle of getting it back because it's a huge item. I can't just go collect it from a post office. It needs like a couple people to carry it in, and oh my God. And then it gets to about 9 a.m., then 10, and I'm like, of course it's the end of the slot, because it's always the end of the slot. And I want you to imagine, whenever you normally go to bed, this is about 6-7 hours past that, so I'm kind of deliriously tired at this point. Absolutely just, like my brain's not functioning properly. The doorbell finally goes, and I'm like, yeah! And of course, I'm in my traditional, at this point, owl onesie, so I'm rocking that, of course. By the way, side note, owl onesie-wise, I got a takeaway like a couple days ago. I thought I would treat myself. You know, it's important that you look after yourself, and sometimes you need just some food brought to your door. And the dude arrived, and what I ordered came with a free bottle of wine. And you know, I don't mind a nice little glass of wine in the evening. I'm a fan. And he took one look at me and went, "Yeah, I need to see ID before I can give you this." And I'm like, how dare you insinuate that I am devilishly young and handsome? Thank you so much. But I had this initial kind of moment of, like, it confused me, because obviously I'm 24, so like that's 6 years of being legally an adult, and it's been actually a while since I've been ID'd, and it's just not something you're normally used to with a takeaway. So I had this kind of hesitation, and he took that as a obvious like, oh shit, I've been found out because I'm one of those really sneaky kids that when the parents are out, I order balls of wine from takeaways. Oh, I'm crazy. It's like, surely there is better, less obvious ways of going about that. Like, come on now. And he then followed up in my moment of hesitation of, can I speak to your parents? And I'm like, and then I kind of came out of it, and I'm like, no, this is my house. I live here. I'm 24. And then his reaction was not, all right, let's see your ID, or a little bit of disbelief. He took a step back, raised both his eyebrows, his eyes went wide, and he went, "No way!" And I'm like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, dude! Seriously! Fine!" And when I got my ID, and he was like 18, 19, 20, working out the math slowly in his head. I'm like, "I'm 24." And he got to 24, and he was like, "Huh. You don't look like you're an adult." And I'm like, "Thanks. Thanks, it's the owl onesie, isn't it?" And he went, "Oh, is that what that is?" And I'm like, "What did you think it was? My usual clothes?" Oh. Either way, back to the main story. I do love the colour-changing nature of this, I will admit. It's actually kind of growing on me. So, the fridge arrives, and I answer the door, and they're like, they say my name, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." And they're like, "Fridge?" And I go, "Yes, please." Wait a minute. Yes, I ordered a fridge. So, already not off to a great start. And then they go get it out the van. They unload it, and God, this is so beautiful! They unload it, and in fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna grab myself a little bit of Nord leaf, just because. Careful. Oh no, that's camo. There we go, Nord leaf. See, I don't think the camo really does a lot. Oh no, the camo is actually still active while I'm auto-firing? Does it actually interact that way? Like, will enemies not attack me even though I'm automatically firing? So they'll just kind of sit there? I really don't know. I have no idea. Oh, yeah, they will! Oh, well, that's kind of broken, isn't it? Look at that! My word! Good God. Oh, wow. So, he gets to the front door, and Jesus Christ. Oh, wait, no, I stopped moving. That distracted me. Sorry, I'm just really kind of blown away that you can just camo, and if you get camo and marked, you're essentially you've won. You just need to walk around the room and aim at everything, and it'll just die. Just make sure you don't take damage or accidentally manually fire, and then everything will be absolutely fantastic. Oh, my God. Okay, so he gets to the front door. There's two guys carting this fridge. It's in a huge box, and they're lifting it up to the front door, and it's kind of like half closed at this point. So he looks at me. I'm kind of stood sort of just in front of it, just like a step outside the house, and he looks at me and goes, "Hey mate, can you open the door as wide as it'll go, please, and hold it there?" And instead of like, yeah, sure, you know, the normal reaction if I was a little bit more corpus mentis, my reaction is to go look at him for a little bit. "Please, brain, please process, please process, please. Oh my God." And then I utter the words, "Yeah, it's a fridge." Just been asked if I could open the door so they can have an easier time lifting it inside for me. And my response, "Yeah, it's a fridge." And then they kind of look at me and look at each other and go, "That's great. Can you open the door?" And I'm like, "Oh, yes. Yes, I can. Yes, I can." So I open the door wide. They start carting it in. Once it gets a little bit too far through the door, I step away because the box is keeping it open. And I'm stood watching them bring it in at the other end of the kitchen. And they look like they're struggling a bit. So I'm like, I'll offer to help. I'll offer to help. That's fine. We can do this. I'll offer to help. And I want to go, "Oh, do you need another pair of hands?" That's what I want to say. That's what I want to say. What I actually say is, "You've got a pair of hands." Fortunately, he guessed what I meant and went, "No, we're okay." And I was like, "Oh, thank God." But what lesson I have learnt from this is don't talk to people. That's it. That's the lesson that I've learned. Don't talk to people. Oh my God, just don't talk to people. And eventually they leave after putting it down, and I'm like, alright, time to get the cardboard off this bad boy. And I decide that I need to rip it open and pull it off, because I want it out the box and ready so I can show Danny it the next day without just having a huge cardboard box with a fridge inside in the kitchen. And I just cannot for the life of me get the thing to open. So I decided to go get a bread knife and start hacking at it like a machete in a jungle, because I thought that was a great idea in my state. And I kind of eventually got through. Fortunately, I didn't damage the thing, but we got there in the end. Oh, that was a nice little bright flash there. And I tried pulling it off, and part of the cardboard was caught round the box and going underneath it. And I was like, okay, I'll just pull it really hard, and that'll be fine. Now, the floor in the kitchen is still a fresh new wooden floor, which means it's quite slippy. So I was yanking on this cardboard, just trying to forcibly pull it off the fridge instead of just cutting it everywhere and letting it slide off easily. And you might imagine what happened. Well, maybe not. I started pulling it, yanking on it really hard, and then the fridge started rocking forward, and I was like, oh god, I cannot pull this over and break it instantly. I've only just got it. No, please, world. So I tried to immediately fix the situation with some quick footwork and pushing, but all that ends up happening is I just slide repeatedly because the sock's on the wooden floor, and end up having a kind of whoa moment and kind of fall over backwards and just land on my ass looking up at the fridge that has defeated me, and have this eternal thought of, I'm gonna do this tomorrow when I'm awake. Oh my god, Delirium. Hey, Delirium. Look at you. Didn't expect to see you here. So, the cool thing about the turret then, you see how right now it's blue? See how right now it's blue? Yeah, I'm just going to move on from that as quickly as that. Right now it's blue. Boom! Ah, you see? Now we've got purple and pink. It's an alternate color changing turret. It's really cool. Back to blue? Yeah, we'll go back to blue. Oh, how about back to pink? Yeah, let's go back to pink. And essentially, I just adore, like, I'm a big fan. I don't mind admitting, I like myself a little bit of baby pink as a color. I think it's a pretty good color. And I am a huge fan of this cloud of just lovely, soft colored explosions. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's not the flashiest, not the craziest, not the breakiest, but at least to me, it's one of the most satisfying synergies I think I've ever done. Look, he can't even charge past it. He's like, I'm gonna get you. Oh no, I'll just change it to something else. Oh, that is great. Let's see if I can't just get all up involved in him and start melting him down there. See, it's a sad thing. You have to be patient and enjoy the beauty, or be aggressive and be reduced to mere red and green. I say mere red and green like they're somehow worse colors, but you know what? You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. Is he gonna die first, or am I gonna die first? Oh, these are things you all should. You need to think about it. I have no idea what happened there. Might be a bit too late today when I'm reading this. When I'm reading this, recording. When I'm reading this, did I just get healed to full health? I mean, I guess that makes sense actually, because explosions and pyromaniac, like that kind of. But yeah, how am I even slightly dying? Like, I should just be unkillable right now, shouldn't I? That seems like something that would happen, but apparently I'm not like being affected by the explosions. But I do think we're going to get him. And, oh, it's going to be close. Yeah, there we go. Look at it all in the black and white glory. That looks fantastic, too. Alright, guys, my name has been Rage. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Like if you did, subscribe for more. And I'll see you next time. A good boy.
Rage Gaming with the video flow.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you, even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on, and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.